Hello, welcome to the new episode of the Daily Fake News, where we are going to keep you informed about how international situation intensified. So, let's hit it.
Hello, 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博然。China's president has just returned from a 5-day official visit to Europe, his first time on the continent in nearly 5 years. While there, he visited France, Serbia, and Hungary in a bid to show Europe that China is open for business and that China's goal is mutual respect, win-win cooperation, and global peace and prosperity. But the Western media didn't take too kindly to his visit, with the Financial Times labelling it unproductive and claiming China's president was there to sow divisions in Europe. Are they right, or is this just a case of sour grapes? When President Xi Jinping landed in Paris on May 5, the Western media was clearly waiting and watching with bated breath. There he held talks with French President Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, where Xi reiterated that the China-EU relationship is complementary and mutually beneficial, and that China views its relationship with the EU from a strategic and long-term perspective. This relationship does not target any third party, nor should it be dependent on or dictated by any third party, Xi said, clearly referring to Washington interference and their Cold War mentality towards China. On May 8, President Xi was met with a warm welcome to streets decked out with Serbian and Chinese flags. At one point, he was greeted like a rock star by a crowd of about 15,000 waiting outside the Palace of Serbia in the capital Belgrade. His visit coincided with the 25th anniversary of the US bombing of China's embassy in the city, which killed 3 Chinese journalists. In an article in Serbian media, Xi said, 25 years ago today, NATO flagrantly bombed the Chinese embassy in Yugoslavia, killing 3 Chinese journalists. This we should never forget. The China-Serbia friendship, forged with the blood of our compatriots, will stay in the shared memory of the Chinese and Serbian peoples. The Western media weren't happy with Xi bringing up that hideous attack on China in 1999, which I'll talk about shortly. Finally, Xi headed to Hungary on May 9 to meet with Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, a man the Western media like to call disruptive. During his European visit, President Xi succeeded in letting Europe know that it's not here to play childish games with the US-led West and its Washington proxies in the region. On top of that, many agreements were reached between China and the 3 countries. 18 high-level deals were signed in France, 30 in Serbia, and a further 18 in Hungary. Plus, 300 Serbian students have even received full scholarships to come to China.
Oh, it was a resounding success. This was President Xi's second visit to Serbia in 8 years, and 30 new agreements were signed this time, including, for example, educational cooperation under which China will sponsor 300 Serbian students and 50 researchers to come to China. There will be 2 new routes added from Belgrade, direct flights to China, one to Shanghai and one to Guangzhou. And there was lots of discussions about the free trade agreement, which China and Serbia signed, I believe, about 6 months ago, which President Vučić also mentioned in his speech, giving an example, for example, what it will mean for Serbian farmers, which will have essentially no tariff, 0% customs for their products compared to other countries which have 38 to 62% tariffs. And I'm sure a lot of European farmers would like the same deal.
Nice. Hey, it's been 25 years since NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in Belgrade. And President Xi, he made a point of bringing that up on his visit there this week. The Financial Times seemed to find that inconvenient, to say the least. And they kind of treated it like China was just causing trouble by remembering that hideous incident. I'm curious to know how the Serbian people view that bombing.
Well, you can imagine how the Serbian people view NATO's aggression on our country and that led to an occupation even to this day of part of our country. So China was also a victim during that bombing. 3 people died, 20 people were severely injured. And it wasn't just the Financial Times, actually. It was also the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Department who also brought it up and was apparently not happy that President Xi's visit coincided with this anniversary, which I think is very inappropriate coming from countries that participated in this attack. Because this visit was really not about this event. It was really about trade and cooperation. It was mentioned by President Vučić and President Xi, of course, a couple of times in their speeches. There was no event around the former Chinese embassy. So I think it really was not about that. But I think everybody has a right to honor their victims and commemorate tragic events in their history.
We all saw the images of China's flag all over the streets of Belgrade. And at one point, President Xi was greeted by about 15,000 people, I think, outside the Palace of Serbia. I want to ask, is China really viewed favorably by the average Serbian, or was this kind of just put on for the visit?
Well, of course, this particular event was very well planned and organized for security reasons. You can't have that many people, close to a foreign dignitary without planning and security. But people in Serbia were really excited about the visit. I was in touch with lots of people there, and it was a 2 or 3 day media frenzy in Serbia. It was pretty much it was all over the TV across the political spectrum, and lots of analysis, economic analysis, political analysis about the visit. What does it mean? And so on. A lot of documentaries on TV about China. But something that few people know, there's probably 15,000 to 20,000 Chinese living in Serbia today, and it may not seem like a large number for somebody from the US or UK or France. But Serbia is a relatively small country, 7 million people. So that's a decent, we don't have any other foreign community like that other than the Chinese. So people in Serbia are quite used to seeing Chinese. We also have a disproportionate amount of Chinese tourists because of the visa-free regime. So people in Serbia are really used to seeing Chinese people, and historically, we've always had good relations with China. There's no outstanding issues. And with all this cooperation investment, it is the Serbian views of Chinese people in China are super positive.
Nice. Last question. In your view, what is the state of Sino-Serbian relations today? And where do you hope or see those relations heading into the future?
Well, you're not the first one to ask me that, and I've actually thought about it. It's hard to even imagine the relations between Serbia and China getting even better. And I just want to remind your viewers, for example, some of the things that happened just in the past 10 years. Serbia and China have established a 30-day visa-free regime, bilateral. That was the first European country to do that. And so also direct flights. There's now a free trade agreement. China has invested in Serbia's key industries. These are billions of dollars of investments, financed and built a high-speed train, which is the only one operating in Eastern Europe, officially high-speed rail, and also one of the fastest ones in all of Europe, actually. And also China has helped build countless highways and bridges and tunnels. There's also military technical cooperation, and now there's this educational cooperation. So, where do you go from here? And I would say, I think the only thing left really is for people in Serbia and more Serbians to take advantage of these opportunities in the coming years and decades. And because we've really built a very good platform and a nice runway with China. So I think it's time for Serbia to take off and maybe even join the China space program.
Wow, sounds like the only way is up. Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.